All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Support Small and Local. Today, we are very excited to be talking to Adele from Adventure Awaits. Adele, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Anthony.
So, Adele, look, there's so much to talk about, but Support Small and Local is about talking to local business owners who have been doing fantastic things throughout 2020, keeping their business alive, keeping it thriving in some cases. So, we're very excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, well, it's been a hell of a year, hasn't it? I think the crazy thing about pandemic was how everything just stopped. So that was a huge thing for all businesses. But I was actually on my way to the airport to go to Perth to exhibit and present at the Perth Caravan Show. And yeah, had to turn around and come back. And yeah, the rest is kind of history.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, and that's sort of one of the first questions that we like to dive into is, how did it affect you? But before we get there, can you tell us a little bit about your business or your businesses in this case? Tell us what you've got.
So we run caravanning with kids out of our little shop in Numurkah, which was called Little Bags of Magic, which is another business. We also have AMD Training Solutions, which is a training-based company. So all three businesses were affected when pandemic hit, and it was not good at all, and really scary for a business owner, especially a small business owner in the middle of regional Victoria. They were all heavily impacted. So our training company stopped delivering courses, obviously, and we delivered our last course in the start of March, and we just delivered one on Thursday, and that was our first one back.
Yeah,
So
right.
that's sort of that business just kind of closed, and we had to focus on trying to save the other two. Caravanning with Kids sells travel products to a country that wasn't traveling. So as you can imagine, that was pretty impossible. And it was a weird feeling because everything did just stop. Everyone was scared. No one was traveling. And so for a business which is all about caravanning and camping, those first few months were really tough. So yeah, we had to make some changes and some adjustments, and come sort of, when was it, maybe June, we decided to rename and rebrand our little shop, and now it's called Adventure Awaits. And yeah, it was incredible. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And what sort of the shop in Numurkah? Tell us a little bit about that. What do you have? What's it involve?
So we've been going for 8 years now, and it's a quirky little shop that is full of unique, a lot of Australian-made goods, high quality, all those gifts that you kind of see on the internet but very rarely see in a shop. That's in the shop. So there is definitely something for everyone. It used to be called Little Bags of Magic, and we also, obviously, Caravanning with Kids was here. We also have a product called Slide and Dry, which is a pegless clothesline, which we manufacture in Melbourne.
I wanted to ask you
And
about that. I wanted to ask you about that. Very cool product.
yeah, so we have that product too, which a lot of people aren't aware that that product is actually assembled here in Numurkah by a lovely group of mums and husbands and kids and whoever needs to help out to get that product out there. But we have our slides manufactured in Melbourne, in Lilydale. Even our packaging is made in Carrum Downs in Melbourne. So we're very proud of that product, and obviously that churns out here as well. We have about 110 stockists across Australia of our products, but as you can imagine, pandemic hit, and all of our stockists were obviously impacted and hurt as well. A lot of them were market goers and show exhibitors, and of course all of that kind of stopped as well. So I had to jump back into the shop full time, and worked out that there was two very separate sections of the shop that I think everyone would have loved to have seen them all on the one website, and that's where the rename and the rebrand started with Adventure Awaits. We have a magazine, a free digital magazine called Adventure Awaits. So we already had all that collateral and everything that went along with it. And yeah, we built a new website, and it was been such a hell of a ride because it's actually worked. They results right across the board. So, and the last couple of months, we've definitely, obviously, every other state is traveling, so we've seen an increase on that side of the business, and so things are looking up. But a lot of hard
Excellent.
work and a lot of panic, I think, in the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, I can imagine. So look, take us back there. When did you sort of first start to notice the impacts, on your business?
It was instant. So we were at the Victorian Caravan and Camping Show in Melbourne,
Yep.
and that there was rumours and whispers that maybe the next show wouldn't happen. We'd just come out of bushfires, so like a lot of people were hurting anyway. And then it was on my way. Yeah, I was on the way to the airport to go to Perth, and turned around and came back. They said pandemic was announced. We had to sit still. And within a week, our sales had dropped by 84%.
Yeah,
And
wow.
for a business like who, and this was our 5th year for Caravanning with Kids, we had planned a massive big celebration. We were at
Mm,
that precipice of really taking off. We just hired new staff. We had a marketing manager on board. There's 9 of us that work across that business, and it all just stopped.
yeah,
So
wow.
over the course of the next 6 weeks, we went from 9 staff to 2,
Yeah.
and it was horrendous. And yeah, we panicked. We kind of, it was depressing. And I know that at least the first 4 weeks, would I'd be fine, rocking in the corner going, is
Yeah.
this the end? Like, as all my hard work and is it all over? But I put my big girl pants on and had to just truck through. And like every other small business owner, and or even large business owners, we all just had to knuckle down and work out a way to survive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it really was like a once in a 100 year shock that just sort of, came out of nowhere for the most part. And I think, for many of us, it's now, a very real thing that, things that happen in the other side of the world can impact us here in Australia as well. So it's definitely something I think we've all learnt in 2020.
Yeah, and it's been like, I guess for caravanning with kids, it's been difficult because every other state is kind of doing their thing and getting
Yeah.
and traveling, and so it's been very hard for our team to produce content and to be upbeat about that and trying to cater, because we're a national, and that's, yeah, been nearly impossible at times. And that we found that's probably the most challenging part, is to be upbeat and keep that momentum going for caravanning with kids when we are stuck in Victoria. And obviously things are very different surrounding us than it is any other state. And watching all of our, families, we've got,
I
200
know.
ambassador families on the road who, um, they're all living it up. And I'm just like,
Yeah, I know. Look, again, like, take us back. So, I mean, we had the big shock to the system there early in the year, and as you mentioned, you've had to go from like 9 staff down to 2. That in itself is very, very difficult to deal with. But what was some of the changes you made? Obviously, now you're in a fairly strong position. But what kind of pivots or changes did you have to make in that early period to keep things going?
well, I guess I had to focus on what I could save. And that was a tough decision. I had to let go of a few projects and a few major projects that we were working on. We were meant to be at the Big Red Bash and then a 4-month caravanning promotional tour around the West Coast that was starting in July. So
Yeah.
we'd worked 2 years towards that project, and obviously that all, was cancelled. And then the training company, that side of things, I just had to focus on the one thing. And what happened there was all of my energy then went back into the shop, and I found retail and for my own shop, which pre-pandemic, I only spent 1 day a week in here, maybe. The girls do an amazing job in this shop, and I hadn't really spent much time in here over the last like sort of 18 months.
Yeah.
And so I was back in full time. My husband had to, look after the kids, and I fell in love with the shop again and all the bloody fantastic products we had. And so we were sourcing new things to, the crafty activities and obviously unique stuff for the families that were in isolation, and how could we help them? And sorry, my phone's just going beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun and I just loved it. And so yeah, I focused on that, and it made me realize that there were a lot of things that the girls were doing in the shop that possibly didn't need done. We were double handling a lot of things, having the two businesses run very separately. So that was the decision. And that I think without pandemic or COVID, I would never have realized how important it was to combine the two businesses and how that would definitely, like, I mean, I was hoping it would work, and geez, yay, thank God it did. Because, everything in my head, it's kind of like, it's a good idea, but will it actually work? And so this one definitely did work. It opened up our demographic as well. Little Bags of Magic in Numurkah has always been known as a kids store, even though half the shop is for the grown-ups, half the shop's for the kids. We've always been known as a kiddie style store. Caravanning with Kids, obviously with kids being in the name, people think kids, but 80% of our products are for the grown-ups. So Adventure Away, it covered everything from baby items, the adventure of becoming a mum, through to the adventure of going back to school, of all of our back to school products, and obviously all the travel related products as well. So the branding and the renaming, the new website, which was a huge undertaking. We have over 1,000 products in here that we ship Australia wide.
Yeah, wow.
That was massive and so much fun at the same time. Like, yeah, it was. Look, I thank COVID because, I wouldn't have what I've got right now if it didn't happen. And I know I'd
Yeah.
probably be in Western Australia right now, but anyway.
Look, and I mean, like, everybody that we've spoken to as part of Small and Local, like, there's yeah, everybody's kind of got a different experience. Like, there's so many businesses out there who have, had a boom period simply because of the effects of people being locked down, etc. Then there's other businesses who have been just decimated, which is so unfortunate. And then there's businesses which it's very much sounding like yours, where took a hit to start with, but then you've been able to make changes which have, are actually silver linings in the way that you've described it, that, you've rebranded, you've put the business together, things are kind of better than ever. So in some ways, it's been a very tough business growth period, but, it's going to come out the other side very positive.
Well, yeah, I 100% think so. Like, it was very easy to wallow in the horrendous nature of what this pandemic did to business, and I was one of those, and I was ready to give up. But yeah, and I remember saying to my husband, why couldn't people be panic buying pegless clotheslines? I don't understand why they're not panic buying clotheslines. Because I'm looking at all these other businesses who were, yeah, like you say, thriving out of this, and we were just falling apart. And week in on week out, we were getting less and less, and it to the point where it was just silence, and that
Yeah.
was deafening. And yeah, but big girl pants on and away we go. So I'm not one to sort of, to stop. I don't know how to do that. So I had to do something, and yeah, we worked really hard at this rebrand, and the locals are loving it. We're getting some, huge responses from the local community about the shop and about the new products that we've got in store. Great feedback about the website as well, which has been wonderful. So yeah, when staff are coming back, so
Well done.
here's to a good Christmas.
That's exactly right. Well done, well done. And yeah, again, staff, you've just mentioned it, they're coming back. Like, I think, we've had the conversation with, again, many business owners now where, they've had to make that painful decision to either stand down staff, let staff go in order to protect the business. But now we're back at a stage where they're being able to start to bring them back. So that's the same case with you?
Yeah. We put on a new girl, Kelly, last week, who's been amazing. So we support a lot of local mums who have kids, might not be able to do daycare, but we've got room at the shop where, they can come to work with their kids. They're fully supported by, obviously, myself and my husband, who own the businesses. And yeah, it's a really nice environment here. And yeah, it's so great to have people back in the shop. I think I spent 6 months on my own and hadn't had a day off since March, and just working 6 days a week. And yeah, it was it got a bit lonely there for a while. I was like, where is everyone? And then obviously in lockdown, and so I was just packing orders. My best friend is the post office manager who I see every day. But now, yeah, the girls are coming back. And we also, at Adventure Awaits, at the back of the shop is a fitness studio. So for Fitness 3636, and that's run by Kim, who's a really good friend, and watching what she's had to go through and how she's had to evolve as well. And she would just come and sit here in the back of the shop in my office here, and we just have chats about stuff because, she wasn't able to run classes and still isn't. She's now doing them in the car park at the back of the shop, and doing it at the reserve. But yeah, it's been tough for her as well. And obviously for us, they're our tenants, so it makes it difficult as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, again, like, not taking away the brutal impacts for so many people, but again, like, coming out the other side, businesses are going to be stronger. They're going to be in a better position coming out the side of this, because whether or not, like, a fitness training business or a business like yours, which, generally depended on a lot of foot traffic coming through a door, or, people being out and about and traveling, purchasing products, we've had to adapt and find new ways to run our business and sell products and services. And coming out the other side of this, when things do get back to what we hope will be normal, the business is only going to be stronger. There's going to be more revenue streams. You've got to rebrand and combine everything. Like, it's just going to be in such a better position. So it's one of the silver linings, I think. But what I'd love to ask is, what is, either one of the things or some of the things that you've really learned in either business or personally from the pandemic? Like, what's a big takeaway from 2020 for you?
I think it definitely highlighted the areas of business that I love. versus the areas of business that possibly I did and have done for a long time, but maybe haven't needed to. I guess that makes sense.
Yep.
It definitely did open my eyes to what's important and what's not important in personal life and in business as well. I think the majority of the population have realized that, there is, in our little bubble is pretty cool. Like, and I've got a new appreciation for the town that I live in, which
Yep.
we live very busy lives, like with the caravanning things. We're at conferences and at big exhibitions and shows. But I fell in love with my own backyard again, and I now walk to work, and along the lake, and it's just absolutely beautiful here. And I always knew that it was a beautiful town. I've been here for nearly 17 years, and I grew up in Melbourne, and I guess I got a new appreciation, like especially in lockdown. My family are in Melbourne in lockdown, and it would be horrendous to be in lockdown in an apartment block in a city where you've got kids and they can't move around. So definitely we all have a new appreciation of just the simple things. And even though I would say that I'm busier, but I'm not. So I'm working smarter, not harder. And the changes that I've made have definitely been for the benefit of me as a business person as well. And a lot less stress now. So, to ignore the first 4 months of pandemic because they were horrific, what's evolved out of that has been a calmer entrepreneur, I guess.
Love that. That's fantastic. No, that's excellent. So tell us what's on the horizon for Adventure Awaits. What's the rest of 2021 looking like for you guys?
Yeah, so it's looking good. We're building our Christmas range at the moment, which is going really well. Dabbling in some different advertising options for the store. We're crushing it across the eastern seaboard. We've got a really great clientele happening up there. So we're just kind of looking at some West Coast NT. We've got to target those areas at the moment. And it's fun, like packing orders and sending parcels of these awesome products all over Australia is so much fun. We also have a growing range of Australian made products or Australian design developed products. And so we've done a lot of work over the last few months of trying to build and develop that collection on our website. And because we manufacture our own products, so we use will print in Shepparton for our travel journals and our logbooks. And obviously, like I said, the clotheslines are made in Melbourne. So if we can support local businesses, support any sort of Australian made, we love that collection now, and that's just growing and growing. So I think that will build and grow as well, especially with this pandemic, because a lot of people are now supporting Australian made.
100%. Exactly. That's it. Love that. Very good. Adele, where can people find out more about you and Adventure Awaits?
So Adventure Awaits online, adventureawaits.com.au, also on Instagram and Facebook, and then caravanningwithkids.com.au, caravanningwithpets.com.au, travelingwithkids.com.au. There's a few, all on socials. But yeah, come in, pop into the shop. We're at 66 Melville Street in Numurkah in the main street, opposite the hardware store, open Monday to Saturday. And yeah, we'd love to see you. Kettle's always on.
Fantastic. Adele, thanks for being a part of Support Small and Local.
Yeah, thanks so much, Anthony. Bye.